details that I have to remember. The lights, the camera, okay, we have everything. We have our blanket, right? So we're gonna use all the props today. We have a strap, we have our blanket, we have our blocks. And you're gonna fold up your blanket. And the first thing we're gonna do is come into easy seated pose. Now, easy seated pose isn't easy for everybody. So if it's not easy for you, you get to make a choice, you get to make a decision on how you can build alignment in your body while you cultivate a place of steadiness. So sitting up on a blanket is gonna give you a little bit more space. The higher the platform, the more your thigh bones are gonna be able to relax down towards the floor. So you're gonna rest your hands on your inner knees. You're gonna allow your eyes to drop closed. And you're just gonna take a moment to feel your pelvis, your sitting bones, on the floor, on the blanket. And as you come into the awareness of the bowl of your pelvis, try to find a levelness to that bowl. So that is our seat, and we can grow our spine tall out of that bowl. So on your next inhale breath, imagine that breath is originating at the base of your spine. And as you inhale, feel that breath lifting up all the way to the crown of your head. And when you are full, hold yourself and just imagine you could hold that energy right above the crown of your head without straining or stressing. And as you exhale, feel the breath wash back down through your sitting bones and back down into the earth. So imagine that exhale breath is further rooting you down. So let's take a few rounds of breath like this with your eyes closed, tracking the pathway of your breath from the bottom to the top as you inhale. And as you exhale from the top to the bottom. And continue to breathe in this manner. And I want you guys to contemplate for a moment the wind. The wind is erratic, right? It's unsteady, it's rough, it's dry. Our breath can get kind of erratic like that if we're not mindful. So we're gonna bring that mindful quality to the breath and imagine that as a tree, like as if you were a tree, the further you root down, the more you can withstand whatever instability or roughness is happening outside of yourself. The more you bring your steadiness to your breath quality, the more you set the tone for your mind to be a little bit more steady. And you can observe that from the moment you got onto your blanket into this moment. Do you feel a little bit more of a sense of steadiness, at least into your breath as you pay attention? So now that we've worked on elongating the spine simply by paying attention to the breath, it's like we were trying to nourish every single segment of the spine as the breath washed up and down the spine. Now draw your shoulders back a little bit. Draw the back of your skull backwards a little bit. And relax your shoulders away from your ears so that the sides of your neck become longer. Good, and then start to circle your pelvis around and around. Yeah. So observe where your sitting bones are touching the floor, where there's pressure. And as you allow yourself to move with your breath, you just tune into that inner intelligence, that inner wisdom of the breath, to guide you, to show you how much movement, to show you what you need, to wake up the muscles that actually work to control the area between our pelvis and our ribcage. Good, and then go the opposite direction. Continuing to breathe steadily. Good, and then slowly make your circles smaller and smaller and smaller until you're circling around the most tiniest little circumference you can possibly perceive. Good, and then just come into stillness. take your right arm straight up above your head with your palm facing in. And then take your left hand to the outside of your right arm and slowly encourage that outer arm to firm in. And you can almost trace, like lift, as if you could lift your arm bone up. And then bring that right hand to its own shoulder blade. And take your left hand to your elbow and gently just press that down. You're trying to bring your elbow in as close to your ear as you can, as close to the side of your face as you can, as you continue to feel that energetic lift up through both sides of your spine. Good, now keep your right hand relaxed on its own shoulder blade. Take your left arm up and over to the floor and slowly start to walk your fingertips towards the left. And as you do, try to turn your chest up towards the ceiling. Try to point your elbow up, lean the back of your skull backwards, and breathe. So you can tell by how you're breathing if there's a sense of ease or not. Listen to your breath. Good, and then start to walk your left fingertips back in. Take your right arm up to the ceiling and wrap it around behind your back. And then catch your right hand with your left hand. Interlace your fingers and let your left ear fall down towards your left shoulder. Imagine your right shoulder dropping down away from your ear. So you're creating length from both sides. Good, and then look up, look forward I should say. Unravel your arms and circle them all the way up. So your right arm's all stretched out, your left arm's not, but that's okay. See if you can just be okay with the imbalance for now. Lift up a little bit more through your rib cage. Good. And then as you exhale, just fold forward. Root your sitting bones down. Remember, the deeper you send your roots, the more you can withstand whatever unsteadiness happens around you. You can tell by how you're breathing if you have steadiness and if you have ease. If you have a place of sweetness. Good, and then slowly start to walk your hands back in. Grab a hold of the tops of your knees again, and then just start to kind of cat and cow here. Just to open things up. Just to start to move a little bit more through the rib cage. We already got moving a bit in the pelvis. So try to focus here on moving your ribs backward and moving them forward. You start to feel more movement happening in the thoracic area of your spine. Great. Let's do one more. Good, and then extend your legs out in front of you. Just give them a little shake and cross your opposite shin in front. Coming back into Sukhasana, easy pose. Is it easy in your body? Take a moment, rest your hands on your knees. Come back to the idea of the breath moving up your spine on your inhale and back down on your exhale as you continue to build alignment. Think about creating internal architecture that transcends any idea or belief that you have about physical limitations you might be working with right now. It's not about denying them, it's about maybe redefining how we see things. Good, and then float your left arm up, palm faces in. Take your right hand over, catch the outside of the arm and slowly start to revolve it in. And then at the same time, start to slide your right hand up so that you're lifting your arm bone up inside of the socket. And then reach your left hand back to touch its own shoulder blade. Bring your right hand to your elbow. And as you hug your left elbow in towards your ear, you're also just allowing your fingertips to move a little bit closer to the base of your shoulder blade. Notice if you're sticking your ribs out. We did a little bit of work with that a moment ago. So draw the front ribs in so that you feel both sides of the spine, all four sides of the spine, lifting up. And then notice if you're tense in your neck. Allow yourself to breathe and check in if there's a sense of steadiness or a place of sweetness. And then take your right hand down to the floor and walk your right fingertips over. And as you glue both sitting bones down into the blanket, revolve your chest up. Micro bend your right elbow so you're not hunching your right shoulder. And then use that right shoulder blade almost as like a something you're arching over to open up. Open up your elbow, lean the back of your skull backwards. Check in with your breath. And then walk your fingertips back in and revolve your, what is that? Your left arm around behind you. Grab a hold of it with your opposite hand, interlace your fingers, maybe even remember which interlace you had before, and drop your right shoulder towards your right ear. And then let your left shoulder get heavier. And then breathe into the sensation that you feel. Good, and then look forward again. Unravel your arms, lift them all the way up, and as you're lifting up, it's like you're lifting your ribcage up away from your pelvis. Soften the inner upper shoulders. Good, and as you exhale, hands come down in front of you, walk your hands forward. They say how you do one thing is how you do everything, and I'm not sure if that's true because I think we have lots of different ways we do things, but we can definitely choose, you know, which ways we want to cultivate more of. So walk your hands back in. Take your legs out. No, don't. Take your hands to the front of your knees again, and one more time, start to move in and out with your thoracic spine, kind of like cat and cow, but definitely exaggerating, trying to thread those front ribs through and trying to drop your ribs all the way back behind your pelvis. Let's do one more. Remember, you're exhaling as you round and inhaling as you lengthen. Good, and then extend your legs out in front of you again. And give them another well-deserved little shake. So just imagine you are sending the energy, building awareness. Every time you hit the ground, there's a feedback happening. And then when you're ready, roll off to your side. You can move your blanket out of the way. Remove your props. Have your strap towards the back of your mat, okay? We'll use it in a little bit. So come onto your hands and knees. And we did a little bit of circling with the pelvis, so can you do that here? Just imagine you were trying to do that same exercise we did seated. I'm going to go the other way. Good, and then pause your pelvis, and I want you to place your attention in your rib cage, and imagine with your rib cage you could do like a double Dutch jump rope movement. So you're kind of circling your rib cage around, up, around, down. And notice what your hands are doing. Can you keep your arms like pillars as you get all of this movement in your rib cage? Go the other way. Good, and then pause your rib cage and think about your shoulders. So you're just gonna start to shift the weight from one side to the other in kind of a figure 8 pattern, right? So whatever, you know, you're just looking to lubricate and looking to maybe transcend any idea of limitation. And then come to a pause here and open your left arm up to the ceiling. Open up across your chest, big inhale. And as you exhale, dive underneath. Let's do that a couple of times. Inhale, spin it open again. Follow your breath, exhale, dive underneath. Let it be a moving meditation. One more time, inhale, open it up. And exhale, dive it through. And then lay your face down. You can place a block underneath your cheek if the floor is far away. And either walk your right fingertips forward, or I suggest, if it's in your practice, wrap it around behind your back and try to open up through that right collarbone. And then check in with your breath, and your breath will be honest with you and tell you if this is easy. You feel that subtle twist. Your spine is unraveling like a rope towards the ground. We're focusing so much on the wideness of the right collarbone. Good, and then circle your right arm back down. Place it down next to your face. As you inhale, open the left arm. Back up again, big stretch. As you exhale, release it down. Good, a second side. Inhale, float that right arm up. So notice how you're rotating today. As you exhale, dive it through. Follow your breath. Let this be a moving meditation as you travel through 2 more rounds. Your entire movement is the length of your breath. And there's that sense of intelligence, right? There's that sense of flow, that the movement is connected to the way that you're breathing and the way that you're feeling. And then once you've done 3, allow yourself to land. Feel that subtle, gentle twist, and wrap your left arm around, or just walk it forward. If this is really tough on your shoulder, just walk it forward and think of spinning the bicep up towards the ceiling. We're focusing on opening more space through that left collarbone. Check in with your breath. Good, and then when you're ready, place your left hand back down next to your face. Inhale, open it up 1 more time, follow your breath. Good, and exhale, bring your hand down. Good. Now just start to walk your hands from side to side, building awareness through the palms of your hands. Feel as if every single part of the surface area of your palm and your fingers is becoming awake and alive. And then slowly start to walk your hands so that your fingers face out to the sides, and notice how things are different. I'm always laughing at the antics of the pets. Good. Building awareness, right? There's a reason, there's a purpose. Slowly make your way back so that your hands are facing forwards. And then walk your hands about 3 inches forward. You can angle your index fingers towards the corners of your mat. Tuck your toes under. And before you even think about going up into downward facing dog, think about this underside of your forearm as if you could push it forward to support the arm bones a little bit more. You know, that's a little weird and very subtle. Then hold on to that feeling of stability through your forearms as you lift your hips into downward facing dog. And as you come into downward facing dog, so I was practicing yesterday and Susie was right underneath me and I kept pressing myself backwards and backwards so I could give her a kiss. So you might have a dog right underneath you, and if that's the case, press your chest forward and forward as if you could give that dog a kiss. Then press the front of your thigh bones towards the back of your thigh bones. Look at your feet. Make sure your heels are invisible, hiding behind your toes. Spread your toes out wide. And as you feel your shoulder blades encapsulate the sides of your body, press down more through the inner part of the palms. So you have that kind of counteraction going on. And then can you lift your sitting bones up taller and taller and taller as you create a little bit more length from your pubic bone to your navel and your navel to your heart and your heart to the crown of your head. Make sure that you're not tensing your neck in any way. Can you find a sense of steadiness and a sense of ease in downward facing dog? I hope so, right? Because we're definitely in downward facing dog. We want to find a way that we can be in this pose where we can cultivate more of a place of steadiness. Good, so on your next inhale breath, shift forward to the top of a push-up. Push the floor away so that the inseams of your arms lengthen and firm your triceps. And then can you draw the top of your sternum away from the bottom of your sternum, at the same time press your heels back against an imaginary wall behind you. Beautiful, these look amazing. Draw the sides of your waist up. Think about zipping up from the pubic bone to the navel. At the same time, you try to button your 2 frontal hip points in towards one another. A sense essentially broadening your sacrum. Take one more inhale here. And as you exhale, hips reach up and back, downward facing dog. Push the front of your yoga mat into the front of the room. Move like a meditation through the two postures at any pace that matches your breath, your intelligence of your breath. Today, it's different from day to day. Close your eyes and really tune in, like you're dancing with this life force. You're dancing with that which keeps you here, breathing, choosing, living, loving, all of the things that you do. Good. So the next time you're in plank, hold your plank. See if you can lift the front of your body into the back of your body even more. Engage your thighs, your quadriceps. And then shift forward, knees up or down. Lower your belly all the way down to the mat. Super slow motion. Observe the entire journey. Try not to strain. Good. Once you land, uncurl your toes. Try to stretch your right toes towards the back of the mat more than they were, and then do the same with the left. So the legs just got a little bit longer. Now imagine you had a mermaid tail. So you're trying to squeeze the legs in towards one another. Pull your hands backwards on the yoga mat and start to peel your sternum up off of the floor as you gaze at your cheekbones. Allow your shoulder blades to project into the front of the body and press both sides of the pubic bone down into the floor. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, allow yourself to roll back down onto the floor. Move with your breath 2 more times. Think of your mermaid tail stretching back as you lengthen, lengthen, lengthen so much that you start to lift. Good. As you exhale, roll it back down. You're cultivating awareness through all of these upper parts of your spine. One more time, coil your upper spine up and come into full presence of the muscles that are working to do this. Good. And as you exhale, roll it back down. Good. Tuck your toes under. You can press back through tabletop, you can press back through plank, or you can press back through child's pose into downward facing dog. When you get to downward facing dog, evaluate your breath. Try to lift a little taller, that triangle under your body. Think about all of the parts of your body that can participate in doing that. Good, and then walk your feet forward to meet your hands. And when you get there, spread your feet out a little bit wider than your hips. Bend your knees a lot so that your torso can make contact with your thighs. Hands are on the floor, and then just start to lift the sides of the hips up. Don't think about straightening the knees, but just get that stretch into the belly of your hamstrings. So the sides of your hips lift up as your thighs and your belly stay connected to one another. Good, keep your thighs and your belly connected. As you inhale, reach your chest forward. The belly stays on top of the thighs. Good, exhale, release your spine back down. Good, and then reach your arms back behind you, interlace your fingers. Keep your elbows bent, draw your elbows in towards one another. And then start to lengthen the arms, and then release the crown of the head down, and as you do, let your hands float over the back of your skull. Lift your shoulder heads away from the floor. At the same time, you think about continuing to stretch your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. Notice which thumb you have on top. Release the interlace of your hands. Place your hands on your lower back. And then just draw your hands down the back of your legs as if you could move that energy, that awareness back down. Belly and thighs are connected. Fingertips to the floor. Inhale, reach your chest forward again, keeping the belly and the thighs connected. Good. Exhale, fold it back in. And again, reach around. Hands behind your back, interlace, opposite thumb on top. First, draw the inner elbows in towards one another. Then as you straighten your arms, think of lengthening your chest. Think of that Ardha Uttanasana. And then fold back down. And as you do, the crown of your head magnetizes towards the floor. As your hands float behind your head, focus on lifting the shoulder blades away from the floor. And breathe, check in with your breath. Good, release your hands to your lower back again. And one more time, massage your legs on the way down to the floor. Good. Now heel toe your feet so that they're hip distance apart. I think they were a little wider. And as you inhale, lift your chest one more time. As you exhale, fold in. And as you inhale, root to rise, circle your arms all the way up. When you get there, interlace your fingers again. Notice which thumb is on top. As you exhale, side bend to the right. Press more into your left foot. Try to turn your chest up to the ceiling like we did in the beginning. Good. Inhale back up to the top. Switch the interlace of your hands. And as you exhale, side bend to the left. Let your hips drift towards the right. Good. Inhale, back up to the top. And as you exhale, bring your hands together in front of your heart. Take a moment to find steadiness and ease just in how you're standing. Reach your fingertips down. As you inhale, think about what it is you're gathering, what it is that you're encircling with your arms. Reach up. As you exhale, hinge from your hips and fold it forward. As you inhale, lift your chest. As you exhale, step your left foot to the back of the yoga mat. Drop your left knee down. Let your pelvis shift forward. Zip up the lowest part of your belly and take your arms up to the sky. Anjaneyasana. Lift your chest. As you exhale, bring your hands down. Tuck your back toes. Step back into a plank pose. Take an inhale when you get there, revolving your inner thighs towards the ceiling. As you exhale, knees upward down, chaturanga. As you inhale, baby cobra, upward facing dog. If you're ready, spin your inner thighs up. Good. As you exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg straight back behind you. Feel the inner thigh side of your left leg lifting. As you exhale, shift forward, curl your knee into your chest and step your foot between your hands. Let your pelvis drift forward, zip up from the lowest part of your belly, lift your torso up, look up, let your heart look up. As you exhale, fingertips come down, tuck your back toes under, step forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fold it in. Inhale, circle your arms, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands come to your heart. A moving meditation. Inhale, circle the arms, get long. Exhale, hinge from your hips, bow down. Inhale, lift your chest, lengthen. Exhale, right foot steps back, drop your back knee down, let your pelvis drift forward, zip the belly up and float the arms up, lifting the heart. As you exhale, hands down, step it back. Take a pause in your plank pose to really engage the front of the body. Shift forward, knees up or down as you exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg straight back behind you. Exhale, shift forward, step your foot between your hands, drop your back knee down. Pelvis moves forward, low belly zips in. Arms reach up, inhaling the whole way. Exhaling, hands come down. Step your back foot forward to meet your front foot. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold it in. Inhale, circle the arms, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands come together in front of your heart. Surya Namaskar A, inhale, circle the arms, reach up. Exhale, hinge from your hips, fold forward. We're going to do a little variation here. So inhale, lift your chest, grab your blocks. As you exhale, step your left foot to the back of the yoga mat. Pause here in this low lunge. Imagine trying to scoot your right foot back, trying to scoot your left toes forward, and revolve revolving your left inner thigh up towards the ceiling. Good, now option. Can you find steadiness and ease if you extend your arms straight out to the sides? Find that sense of groundedness. The more you send your roots down into the earth, the more you can withstand whatever unsteadiness is happening around you. Stay here or decide to circle your arms forward, palms face one another, creating long line of energy from the inseam of your back leg all the way through both fingertips. As you exhale, hands come down, move through your vinyasa. Breath by breath, your moving meditation. Inhale your left leg straight to the sky. As you exhale, shift forward, step your foot between your hands. Grab your blocks again. Let your pelvis sink down nice and low. But think about drawing that left foot back, right toes forward, spin the right inner thigh towards the ceiling. Good, so that left thigh bone injecting straight into the left hip socket. Take your arms out to the side. See how much space you can take up. And then if you want to, take your arms forward and see how much length you can create. Breathe, check in with your breath. And then take your hands down, step your right foot forward again. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fold it in. As you inhale, circle your arms, rise up. Can you feel a current of energy traveling up and down through your body? Exhale, hands to your heart. Again, inhale, circle the arms, reach up. Exhale, hinge from your hips and fold. As you inhale, lift your chest. And as you exhale, step your right foot back. Okay, so you have your blocks. Think about pulling your blocks backwards to lengthen your heart forward. Lift the lowest part of your belly away from your thigh. Option to stay here, option to take the arms out to the sides again. How much space can you take up? Keep hovering your belly off of your thigh. Nothing is hard, right? We just work with it. If you want, circle your arms forward and think about how much length can you create here? Breathe, let your breath tell you something. Good, take your hands down, step back, move through your vinyasa. Inhale the right leg straight back behind you. As you exhale, shift forward, step your foot between your hands, find your blocks again. Pull the blocks backwards to lengthen your chest forward. Think about spiraling that left inner thigh up towards the ceiling and notice how much length you get. Then maybe take your arms out to the sides. Imagine a current of energy shooting through the crown of your head. Decide if you want to stretch your arms forwards, palms face one another, shoulder blades are hugging the sides of the body. Breathe. Nothing is hard. We get to choose. Hands come down, back foot steps forward. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fold it in. Inhale, circle your arms, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, one round, Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, no variation, stretch the arms. Exhale, hinge from your hips and fold. As you inhale, lift the chest. As you exhale, step walk, or if you're jumping, land with your elbows bent. Inhale to lift the chest. And exhale to lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. And now marinate. How can you make this an active pose so that you're working? So when we say ease, we don't mean like, oh, this is so easy, I'm just hanging out. We mean that like, hey, you're not struggling. You're like flowing. You're not trying to swim upstream like a salmon. You're allowing your breath rhythm to help you find more and more space in the posture without, killing yourself. The way you go about things. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. Feel that breath as if you could expand every part of your body with that breath. And then at the end of your next breath, bend your knees, look forward, step walk or jump to the top of your mat. As you inhale, lift your chest. As you exhale, fold it in. As you inhale, circle the arms, reach all the way up. Keep the sides of the body long. Keep that length as you bring your hands together in front of your heart. Good. Tree pose. Shift your weight onto your left leg. Right foot reaches out in front of you. Turn your inner leg up towards the ceiling. And then replace your foot wherever you're practicing today. Notice you want your foot to be facing straight down the inseam of your leg. Bring your left hand to your left hip and firm that left hip in away from your hand. That's active, right? And then place your hands together in front of your heart. Okay, so the more we're able to send our roots deep, deep down into the earth, the more we're able to withstand anything else that's happening externally. So, arms up to the sky. It's a super windy day. Let your branches blow, but feel your roots. And it's okay if you have to drop your foot here and there. Go as big as you want to. Think about like the most wild, I was reading this book and there was a tornado. And we don't get those here, but we certainly get winds that can be very destructive here as well. But think about keeping your roots really grounded. When you're ready, palms float up, face one another. Bring your hands together in front of your heart and just honor the practice. No matter how difficult it was to stay rooted today, think about continuing to send those roots deeper down. And release. Switch sides. How do we go about things? So, mindfully, first externally rotate through your left leg. You're already thinking about that right hip firming in, but you can kind of just wrap your hand around it. Bring your foot to wherever you're practicing. And then feel that right hip firm away from your hand. So you come more into the midline. Good. Find a moment to get still, steady. And then let your branches be unsteady, but your roots be continuing to go down. Good job, you guys. And it doesn't matter if you fall. That's not really what's important. What's important is how much you trust yourself to listen internally. Arms stretch up towards the ceiling. Hands come together in front of your heart just as an honoring. Good, and then release everything down. You're at the front of your mat, big toes touching, heels slightly apart. Bend your knees, circle your arms, Utkatasana. Think of being fierce here. As you exhale, fold forward and straighten your legs. As you inhale, lift your chest. As you exhale, make your way back through your vinyasa, breath by breath. It's a moving meditation. Good. Step your right foot to the front of the yoga mat. Seal your left foot up on its edge. Heel toe your right foot to the right a little bit. We're coming into Virabhadrasana 1. So bring your right hand to your right hip. Stretch your left arm forward. Spin your left inner thigh towards the ceiling. And then reach your right arm forward to match your left. Good. Press into the center of your right heel and lift your torso up. Virabhadrasana 1. Zip up the front of your body. Draw your palms to touch one another. Lift your chest. And as you exhale, bring your hands down. Step back. Take it through your vinyasa. Breath by breath. Moving meditation. Once you get to downward facing dog, lift your left leg. Exhale, step your foot between your hands. Seal the outer edge of your right foot down. Heel toe your left foot to the left. Left hand to left hip crease. Encourage that thigh bone right into the hip socket. Stretch the right arm forward. Feel that length. Same amount of length to reach the left arm forward. Keep drawing the left hip back and then stand all the way up. Draw the palms to touch. Let your heart look up. As you exhale, take it down through your vinyasa. So we're practicing Surya Namaskar B. When you come back into downward facing dog, allow yourself to find a place of Sthira Sukham Asana. At the end of your next breath, bend your knees, look forward, step, walk, or jump to the top of your mat. As you inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fold back in. Bend your knees, circle your arms. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, stand all the way up, hands to your heart. Okay, so we're gonna do it not fast, but all breath, one breath per movement. Bend your knees, inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold forward, straighten the legs. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward. On your inhale breath, rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. On your exhale breath, take your hands down and see if you can make that breath last all the way through Chaturanga. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, hips reach back, downward facing dog. At the end of your exhale, step your left foot forward, still your right foot. Inhale, rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, hands down, step it back. Same exhale breath, ideally, takes you through. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Notice the effects. Slowly walk your hands back towards your feet. Feet are hip distance apart. Bend your knees a little bit. Grab a hold of your big toes with your peace fingers. And as you inhale, stretch your chest forward. Maybe your belly and your thighs stay connected. And as you exhale, bend your elbows out to the side. Fold the top of your skull down towards the floor and lift up through the sides of the hips. Make sure that you're relaxing the four sides of your neck, folding your body in half. So either stay here or move on to Padahastasana. So that would be with your hands underneath your feet. So if you're doing that, inhale, lengthen your chest forward. And as you exhale, slide the palms underneath the feet so that the toes are massaging the wrists. And then shift your weight forward towards the balls of your feet as much as you can as you think of lengthening through the backs of the legs. Relax the crown of your head down towards the floor. Good, and then if you have Padahastasana, slide your hands out from under. Let's all meet with our fingertips on the floor. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, fold back in. And as you inhale, circle the arms. You're at the back of your mat, all the way up to the sky. Good. Exhale, hands together in front of your heart. You're also beautiful. Take your strap. Okay, so you're gonna just lengthen your strap out and lay your strap over your left shoulder. Okay. Siri is just talking to us. Thank you, Siri, we're done. Take your left arm straight up towards the ceiling. Take your right hand to the outside and slowly revolve it forward, yeah? And then bring your left hand to its own shoulder blade. The strap is right there. Grab a hold of the strap. Point your left elbow straight up towards the ceiling and hug your left upper arm bone in towards your face. And take your right arm around, turn your palm to face behind you. And slowly start to bring your right hand behind your back. Bend your elbow and slide your hand up the strap. Now, think about pressing your right elbow forward towards the front of the room. At the same time, you're trying to peel your right collarbone open. Create a little bit of tension in the strap. So you're feeling like you're lengthening the strap. You're pulling on the strap from either end and draw your front ribs in. Breathe here. Can you find a place of steadiness? Place of ease? Can you soften some of the congestion in the inner part of your left shoulder blade, where your shoulder blade and your trapezius muscle come together? Lengthen through the four sides of the neck, the four sides of the waist, as you root down your roots all the way into the center of the earth. Good, and then release, unravel your arms. Take a shoulder roll from the front to the back, and then from the back to the front. And then move your strap over to the opposite shoulder. So take your right arm straight up Take your left hand, assist your right arm in revolving, and think of lifting your arm up a little bit more. And then take your right hand to its own shoulder blade and find your strap. Good. If you want to give yourself a little extra push there, notice when you do, those front ribs poof out. So we're tight in our thoracic spine, that's why that happens. Take the left arm out to the left and find your strap again behind you. And then press your left elbow forward as you widen your left collarbone. You should feel like that collarbone can keep getting more and more spacious. Pull on your strap gently and think about a current of energy traveling up and down the length of your spine, all the way up through your right elbow. And you're containing that energy by hugging your front ribs in. Notice how you're standing on your feet. Are you standing on one side more than the other? Can you create a sense of equanimity there? Good. And then release, unravel your arms. Move your strap to probably more like the middle part of your, where you can easily grab it, let's just say that, and step back to the front of your mat. Okay, so take a moment to send your roots deep down into the earth. Think fierce pose, bend your knees, circle your arms. Inhale, exhale, fold forward, lift the sides of the hips up. Inhale, reach your chest forward. Exhale, vinyasa. That could just mean you go to downward facing dog. Good. Coming into that downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg straight back behind you. As you exhale, shift forward, step your foot between your hands. Seal the left foot down on its edge, heel toe the right foot to the right, and take your strap with you as you float up into Virabhadrasana 1. Good, so you're gonna take that strap again and place it over your left shoulder. You're gonna take your left arm back up to the ceiling and do all of the steps that we did before, finding its own shoulder blade, solidifying that left arm in towards the midline, elbow up towards the ceiling, circle your right arm around and behind. Good, and then see if you can drop the pelvis down a little lower as you lift the pubic bone towards the navel a little bit more, and then check in, is there any congestion in your left shoulder blade? Good, so start to pivot to the ball of your left foot and start to lean forward, eventually floating up into Virabhadrasana 3 with your left heel in line with your sitting bone. You can keep a micro bend in your right knee. Keep pointing your left elbow forward and keep suctioning your right shoulder blade away from the floor, away from gravity. Beautiful. Slowly start to bend your right knee. Reach your left leg way back behind you. Land on a crescent. And then unravel your arms. Place your strap off to the side. Circle your arms up towards the ceiling, feeling the sides of your waist lengthen. And then keep your arms, my hair's in my mouth. Keep your arms reaching as you bend your back knee all the way down to the floor. Take a hold of your blocks. And then slide your back knee about 3 inches back and shift your hips backwards into half Hamananasana, folding forward. Good. So from this stretch of your right hamstring, I'm going to stretch it a little bit more. Bend your right knee, shift forward, lift your back knee up, and then take your blocks forward again. And this time float up into a standing split. So fold your torso down on top of your right leg as much as you can. Drawing that outer right hip crease back, spin the left inner thigh up towards the sky. If you'd like to work on balance, send your roots deep down into the earth and grab a hold of your ankle with one or both hands. Breathe, let your breath tell you something. Good, and then slowly start to bend your right knee back again. Land towards the back of your mat on the ball of your foot. Circle your arms up to the sky one last time. Crescent pose. Good, and then lean forward, bring your hands together in front of your heart, and twist towards the right. You can always drop that back knee down. So whatever is going to allow you to get the greatest sensation of the churning of your inner organs, right? You're wringing things out. Use your exhale breath to firm your abdominals a little bit more, navel towards the spine. Good, and then unravel your arms. Hands to the floor, step back, and take it through a vinyasa if you want. When you get to downward facing dog, find that place of steadiness. Inhale your left leg straight back behind you. As you exhale, step your foot between your hands. Left foot to the left, seal the outer edge of your right foot down, grab your strap and take it with you as you rise up into Virabhadrasana 1. Good, so you're gonna place the strap over your right shoulder this time. And just check in with your pelvis. Mine's doing an angle of things, so you're trying to, most of our pelvises will, but we're trying to draw that left outer hip crease in a little bit more so that we're a little bit more neutral. Take the right arm up, assist with the left. Let the right hand grab its own shoulder blade and find the strap. Take the left arm around and back behind you and find the strap. Good, so I want you to focus on that left collarbone getting wider. As you press the elbow slightly forward, press the shoulder blade into the ribs. Find a place where you can breathe. Let your breath talk to you. Pelvis drops in a little bit lower. Good, now start to pivot to the ball of your back foot. Start to lean forward. Think of those long lines we were creating earlier. And then float the back foot up to the height of the sitting bone. You can keep a softness in your left knee, but draw that outer left hip crease back and point your right elbow forward. Activate through your entire back right leg. Breathe. Slowly start to bend your left knee. Reach your right leg way back behind you. When you land, allow your arms to unravel, crescent pose, drawing the front of the body in. Good, and slowly bend your back knee all the way down towards the floor. Find your blocks. Slide your back knee back about 2 inches and shift your hips backwards into half Hamanasana. Lengthen your sternum forward towards the midline of your body. Make sure you're on your midline. See if you can draw the top of the sternum away from the bottom of the sternum. Think about deepening the crease of your left hip. Good, so rebend your left knee, tuck your back toes under, walk your blocks forward, and float your right leg up one more time for standing split. Sending your roots deep down into the earth so you get that lift, you get that energy traveling up the left leg. It's the same thing when you inhale, you can think of lifting the energy from the sole of your foot all the way up to the top. And as you exhale, you can imagine that energy traveling back down to further root you down. Maybe you grab your ankle with one or both hands. Good, and then slowly start to bend your left leg. Reach your right leg way back behind you. One more time. Circle the arms up for crescent pose. Good. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Lean forward about 45 degrees and then take your twist. Back knee up or down, you choose. However you can best churn your inner organs. Let your breath tell you if there's steadiness or ease. Good, and then slowly unravel your twist. Bring your hands down. Step your left foot back to meet your right. And move through a vinyasa. It will be the last one if you want it. If you don't want it, don't take it. Good. And then bend your knees and come down. And sit off to the side. And and send your legs forward. And so bend your left knee so that your heel comes in alignment with your left sitting bone. So it's out in front of you, yeah? And then hold the front of your shin and use that to lift your spine up, nice and tall. Yeah, and then take your right arm up towards the ceiling. Flex your right toes towards your shin. And either wrap your right arm around your knee or you can hook it. And take your left hand behind your back. Allow yourself to take a few breaths here. Sometimes we cross that leg, but today we're not. Look back forwards again. And then let your left knee fall out towards the left so that your heel is in line with your root. Turn your body to face your extended legs. So you have a little bit of a twisting action. Take your arms up to the ceiling and imagine you could lift through the thumb side of your hand as you relax your inner shoulders. Good. And then lengthen as if you were laying your body down like a blanket over your right leg. Your left leg is getting that, your left hip is getting that stretch. Good. Right hand goes along the inseam of your right ankle. Left arm like you're opening up. Open your arm out behind you. Someone's going to pass you the baton. And then as you exhale, side bend this time over your right leg. Keep your right toe striving towards the ceiling. Keep your left sitting bone rooting down into the floor. Good. And then circle your left arm up and around. Place it behind you. Pop up onto your left knee and reach back like a wild thing. Think about lifting your heart up on top of your shoulder blades. Good, and then slowly release it down and extend your left leg back out. Bend your right knee so that your heel is in line with your sitting bone. Clasp the front of your shin and use that to help pull yourself upright as much as you can. Good, let the shoulders drop back, let the heart lift up. And then extend the left arm so long, you feel the entire left side body lengthen. Turn towards your right, hug or hook, you choose. And walk the right fingertips behind you. Observe the progression of the posture. Even if it looks like nothing is happening, if you close your eyes, you can feel something happening internally. Go ahead, now look forwards again. Body faces forward. Allow your right knee to fall out towards the right, heel in line with your root. Activate through your left leg. Turn your body a little bit towards the left and then take your arms up to the sky. Think about if you were trying to lay your torso like a blanket all the way over your left leg. As your right outer knee magnetizes down towards the floor, observe that there's a stretch through the right hip / right lower back. You might feel it more on one side than the other. Good, and then take your left hand to the inseam of your left ankle. Spin that right arm open like you're getting as wide as you can. There you go, and then take your right arm over your ears if you could grasp your right toes, or your left toes, I mean. Turn your chest up towards the ceiling. Notice where there's not ease or not steadiness. Good, and then circle your right arm up and around, place it down on the floor behind you. Roll up onto the right shin, right knee, and reach your left arm back. Feel that platform, that pillar of your right arm, including the architecture of your right shoulder blade, creating support. Good, and then slowly release it down. And bend your knees. Reach your arms forward, hook your thumbs together, and articulate your spine vertebrae by vertebrae down towards the floor. When it gets challenging, release your thumbs and just look forward. Find a place of steadiness and ease in your breath. Interlace your hands in front of you. Take an inhale. As you exhale, twist towards the right. As you inhale, bring it back to the center. As you exhale, twist towards the left. As you inhale, bring it back to the center. Release the interlace of your hands and slow and controlled roll the rest of the way down. And when you land, knees towards your chest. Hug the knees in. Drop the heels down to the floor. Let your palms rest on the floor beside you. 3 dynamic bridges. Inhale, lift the hips, reach the arms back behind you. Exhale, lower from the middle spine, upper spine, middle spine, lower spine, arms return to the floor. Twice more. Think of enlivening the back of your body with these back bends. Everything is connected. One more time. Allow this to be like a full flushing of your breath and your energy through the entire physical body. And then when you land back down on the floor, take a moment. Bring your hand to your heart, bring your hand to your belly. Either bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees fall out to the side, or bring the inner knees together and heel toe the feet out to the side. Just take a moment here to connect to your breath. We're not all the way done yet, we're almost there, but just have this pause. And then wherever your feet are, heel toe them so that they're in line with one another. Take your arms out like a cactus. Cross your right thigh bone over your left thigh bone. Shimmy your hips a little to the right and let your knees descend towards the left. Keep the right shoulder blade heavy into the floor. Contract your abdominals to bring your knees back to center. Switch the cross of your legs. Shimmy your hips to the left. Let the knees descend to the right. Keeping that left shoulder blade heavy on the floor. Contract your abdominals. Come back to the center. Hug your knees into your chest, lift your head and your shoulders away from the floor. Contract yourself into a tight little ball. Squeeze everything. And as you exhale, relax your entire body into the floor, into Shavasana. If you want to bring the soles of your feet back together again for Supta Baddha Konasana, you can stack blocks on the outside of your thighs to support you. You can also have your knees bent. You can use that blanket, roll it up underneath your knees if that's comfortable. You can take a hand to your heart, a hand to your belly if you like. So transcending those seeming opposites, and that's really what Shavasana represents when we talk about that little death. It's a little death to all of the ways in which we seek to dualize the world. So we come back to that full union, embracing all of the different parts of ourselves without judgments, bringing the physical and the emotional together into a unified place where there's no tug of war happening. So let's think about or meditate on sweetness. In this Shavasana, can you create a place where you can retreat into an inner sanctuary of sweetness, of ease, of letting go? Imagine the stillness embracing you and holding you. Slowly starting to bring yourself back, but not to lose that place inside of you that knows, that knowingness of the possibility of the marriage of
steadiness and ease, even as the world outside rocks us and rolls us. When you're ready, stretch your arms back behind you. Maybe stretch your legs out in front of you. Take a nice long stretch. Imagine you can energize, invigorate, and enliven every cell and molecule of your body. When you're ready, hug your knees to your chest and either roll over to your side and press yourself to a seat or rock yourself up to a seated position.
If you like, you can find your blanket again so that we remind ourselves that place of ease. Come back to a seated position. Align your body. Set that up mindfully. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Take a moment to reflect upon whatever brings you the feeling of gratitude in your heart. And you'll know you found it because you start to feel a little bit of warmth or a little bit of opening up. What does it mean to be easy? And we reframe easy as something that is positive.